Welcome, everyone. The Sound of Freedom is a film that was based on a story of a former US government agent who dedicated his work to combating child trafficking. The film follows his mission to rescue a kidnapped girl from human traffickers. The film was completed already in 2018, but it was released in 2023, and it became a huge success because that movie showed how evil and how terrible this human trafficking is. People really didn't understand before. That's what I think. And today we have this US government agent who worked for Homeland Security, Tim Ballard. He is here in the Netherlands. Tim, very welcome. I think you are doing an amazing job, really very dedicated. I think it's 24/7 and fighting this evil industry. What brings you to the Netherlands?
Well, we have a new film that just began streaming on Angel Studios. It's not quite here in Europe. It'll be on Netflix. It'll be everywhere. And the film has a lot to do with the Netherlands. It's a true story. People lied, there's so many liars, right? And they lied about Sound of Freedom, saying it's not real, well, it is based on a true story, but here, we'll show you something totally real, super real. Cameras on our bodies. This was an operation we did when the war in Ukraine broke out. We went to Ukraine because we knew that vulnerable children would be preyed upon by traffickers, because that's what they always do. We went out there, and sure enough, we found a trafficking ring, international, that was looking to recruit kidnapped children who were vulnerable. And this organization was born here in Holland.
Wow.
It's called Martijn Association. These guys were a political party. We've talked about this.
Martijn, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we know them.
You know them. Yeah, they were a political party trying to legalize sex with children. And the Dutch eventually charged them in 2020 with crimes against children. They were into little boys, as young as 4 years old. And so they became fugitives. They left. Unfortunately, we got to change this. That's why we're here. In the EU and in Holland, you get charged with a serious crime of rape of a child, and you get to live in freedom with your passport, and you can travel. So what do you think these guys did? They took off. They became fugitives. They went to Mexico. They went to Ecuador, and they began their sex markets there, including they built a child sex hotel in a little vulnerable village on the coast of Ecuador called Canoa. And there they were literally making a child sex hotel. They had already children in there. They were recruiting. And so the story of Hidden War is a story of us beginning in the war in Ukraine with bombs dropping, finding this ring, and then chasing them, tracking them down through three continents and 6 countries, and from here to Holland to Hungary to Poland. We're in Miami. We're in Mexico. We're in Ecuador. And we just dismantle the whole thing.
And these people, let's say the top of this organization are Dutch men.
Yes, they were all Dutch.
Connected
fugitives.
to Martijn.
They were all part of Martijn.
Wow.
When Martijn got disbanded, it was made an illegal organization by the courts in Amsterdam. Well, then they continued their activity illegally online, and they continued doing it. And then they got charged with crimes, but then they took off. And unfortunately, this is a sensitive point, but we got to be honest. When Nelson Matman, the leader of the group, he was hiding out in Mexico, allegedly abusing children, and you'll see us take him down. We infiltrate his network. We infiltrate him undercover. It's an amazing part of the film. But the Dutch government knew that he was in Mexico, and they actually canceled the red notice that they had put out. When you have a fugitive, he's not showing up for court and so forth, they put out through Interpol the red notice, the be on the lookout notice.
Yes.
Well, they saw he was in Mexico and canceled it because they said, oh, if the Mexicans find him, they'll lynch him. So
They protected him.
They protected him.
My God.
But we unmasked him because we saw what he was doing online and efforts in Ukraine. So after you'll see at the end of the film, after we take down the hotel and put everybody behind bars, we fly back to Amsterdam. We fly right here and do a press conference. This is all in the film, and we call him out. Like, what were you guys thinking? You knew who he was. You knew where he was. And you did nothing but hide him. Is he more important than children in Mexico? Is he more important than children in Ecuador? Because you're afraid he's going to be, he's a pedophile.
Yes.
He's a threat to danger. He's been clear about that. And so we've been working with the EU, with good people here. There's great people here that want to fight this. And we want to submit a bill for law that would be a mandatory reporting, where if you have a charged pedophile or a convicted pedophile that's leaving your country, you have to by law inform the country. We have that in the United States.
Yeah.
I testified in Congress about that law. It's called the International Megan's Law. So, and also you got to take their passports. You can't let charged pedophiles have the freedom to roam the earth.
What happened after this press conference? Because there should be a lot of commotion.
Well, not a whole lot. We started, and then it got jammed up in legislation, and we could only be so loud about the story, so we had to wait until the story could get out through this film. Now that the film is out, we have another chance to make the movie a movement. Unfortunately, the bad guys, and there's lots of them, they're mostly institutionalists, by the way. The worst ones are the ones that hide behind the name of Jesus Christ, the ones that hide in churches and governments and deep states. They're the worst. They think they're safe by God's judgment. They're the ones in big trouble because they're covering it, right? Just like people here in this government did that. They did that to me. They did not want this movie to come out. They could lie about Sound of Freedom. They can't lie about Hidden War because it's real. And so
it's a documentary.
It's a documentary.
Yeah.
So they can't lie anymore. So they tried to attack me to make sure the world wouldn't see this film. And they threw everything at me. I got accused of being a pedophile, a trafficker, a rapist, kidnapper, everything, murderer.
Yeah.
And these are my closest friends that got coerced, right? Got threatened, whatever. And so it was my own church. My own church defamed me. They started it and excommunicated me based on nothing, based on just the lone. They made up a lie and then excommunicated me based on their lie, right?
Yeah.
So they really tried to wreck my reputation, but they lost, evidenced by the fact that Hidden War is coming out.
I recognize that. Yes. I was
what this is like. You've been through this.
Yeah. I was in politics too, and if you don't comply with the groupthink, they try to cancel you with all kinds of false accusations. When did you first realize that child trafficking was far larger and more widespread than the public understood?
So when I first entered the government, and I started in 2002, I had two levels of kind of revelation, I'll say, on this. The first one, I got in and I saw I was given access to special software that allows us to basically troll the internet. Okay, the deep, the dark net mostly. And I was shocked. This is in 2022, or sorry, 2002, 2003. It is like insurmountable. Millions of images of little children being raped, being sent daily, hundreds of thousands, even millions every day. And so you're looking at this going, wait, there's that many people? There's that many people that do this? And then what happened, as you see in the movie Sound of Freedom, I start taking on these pedophiles. I get hundreds of pedophiles, but the kids were, at that time, the kids were mostly overseas. So I'm like, what about the kids? How do we find the kids? And then this thing happened at the border that you see in Sound of Freedom. That's a true story.
Mm-hmm.
The little boy comes across. I recognize I saw him in the video. This is the first child I actually saw. And then I realized where the other ones were, in this case in Colombia. And I said, I can't. The government told me you can't go there. It's not our business. And I said, well, they're not doing anything. So I quit. And you see that depicted in Sound of Freedom. And then from that point on, I don't have the bureaucracy, but I have a lot of other things, right? When you come out,
yeah,
I get attacked, I get lied about, I get defamed by even the good guys, and you have to raise your own money too when you go outside the government.
Yes.
But my wife and I and my team were willing to do that, and it's paid off.
Yeah,
It's working. Follow us. We're doing it.
Yeah,
and we're not going to stop.
It's very good, and I think it's so important that that someone is doing it. To be honest, I heard about this pedophiles. It was, of course, on Facebook and Instagram. People were talking about. I never realized it was this big. You mentioned
it's hard to grasp. I get it.
I
It was hard
never-
for me.
Yeah.
And I was in it. And I'm still shocked. It gets bigger and bigger. Just got this report from the UK 2 days ago.
250,000
250,000
girls.
little girls.
Not even raped, but also not only abused and raped, but also they tortured
Them. They groomed them. They tortured them. They became their sex slaves.
Yes.
And
White trash.
white trash. They were called by the government.
Yeah.
They said no, because they're so afraid of being called Islamophobe. Guys, this is Islam, the Sharia law version. Okay, it's not a race. It's not there's people are all races in this. This is an ideology.
Yeah.
It's ideas. We're allowed to attack ideas. We're not attacking a race.
No, correct.
We're attacking horrible ideas. Okay, it's the dumpster fire of ideas that come out of Sharia law and this radical form of Islam. And it's been going on for 1,400 years. What you're seeing happen in the UK has happened for 1,400 years to all the Christian and Jewish populations through the Middle East. It's what they do, and they interpret their ancient texts to tell them they can't do this. They literally called, when they started taking over Europe back in the 7th, 8th, 9th centuries and on through the Middle Ages, they would say that they called them white trash. You're allowed to take Christian and Jewish women, anyone that's not of our faith, and they can be your sex slave. I'm sorry to say this, but it says that in their texts.
Yeah, correct.
It says it in the Quran.
Yeah.
It says it. And people can say to me, well, Christians do horrible things too. Yes, they do. They do. However, there's about 1 million miles of daylight between those Christians in that act and the Bible itself. 1 million miles of daylight. You can't say that about the Quran. I'm sorry. I have no filters anymore on this because kids are getting hurt. This is the problem we have to recognize. We're not attacking a race of people. We're attacking ideas that are deadly,
Yes.
that are devastating. And we got to stop being afraid of man and start fearing God and protecting these children. And that's what I'm going to UK right now. I'm getting on a train from this studio. I'm going into the UK right now to get loud because this report just came out and I have a meeting with Liz Truss and some of the CPAC guys, and we're going right into the battle.
Yeah, I think it's very necessary, and I'm really grateful that you are doing this. And what role do organized crime, corrupt government officials, you already named them, and international criminal networks play in sustaining this industry?
Oh, huge role. When I started this, it was more cellular. It was kind of smaller because even a lot of bad guys don't want to hurt kids. But what they're realizing is at the end of the day, it's the money that matters. And people need to realize that child trafficking, human trafficking is it's competing with the drug trade. Because as you saw through the lips of Jim Caviezel in Sound of Freedom, it's something I've said, it's true. You can sell a bag of cocaine one time. You can sell a child 10 times, 20 times in a 24-hour period. And you can charge double of what an adult prostitute would go for. It's a lucrative business. It's a lucrative business, and it's $150 billion a year business.
$150
billion a year business. There's millions of children who are in slavery right now, sex slavery. Millions of adults, women, even men in labor slave. Slavery is alive and well, and so but people hide it. See, what happens is their institutions get infiltrated by it, whether it's government or churches or whatever. And then instead of addressing it and fighting it, they cover it. Nothing to see here. And they cover it. And then soon they become as bad as the bad guys. I mean, you can only cover child abuse for so long before you are, in fact, a child abuser.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in institutions, the ones that attacked me included. They did not want Hidden War to come out. They did not want Sound of Freedom to have success. And I was going to run for, President Trump had asked me to run for Senate in Utah. And I told them, I'm going to expose this. And they said, oh, really? Well, watch what we're going to do. And they did their worst. They tried to destroy my family. They tried to destroy my life. These are people in my own church, mind you, that claim that they're doing work in the name of Jesus Christ. They're in such big trouble eternally, they have no idea what's going to hit them. They think they can do these things because they're infallible. And they're in such big trouble because I'm going to expose them. I'm done. I'm exposing everybody. I don't care. You can throw me in jail. You can kill me. I don't care.
No.
I've seen too much. Someone's got to do it. I will die on the hill. I will die on the hill.
this is exactly the same discussion I have with my wife. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Why are people so close to you try to do this?
Well, it was a mafia move. It's what Pablo Escobar used to do to people. It's called plomo o plata, okay, lead or money. So if you come out and if you don't participate in the destruction of Tim Ballard and his team, then we're gonna sue you. We're gonna come after you, and if you do it, we're gonna reward you. Plomo o plata, lead or money, right? And so it makes it really easy for people who don't have moral courage. And these are people who are friends in the press, some of my best friends, people in my church, right? And they're like, I don't want to get sued. Let me give you an example. Of my original group of people that had started this with me, of hundreds of people, only 2 of the originals. Other people came, thank God. Other people, beautiful people came to protect me.
Yeah.
But the original people, my wife and a guy named Matt Cooper stood by me. When they came out, the minute they came out, my wife came out and she said, this is bull crap. I know these stories are false. My wife, days later, was sued. My wife was sued for sexual assault. In the complaint, there's nothing in it, but it doesn't matter because the Utah media, especially, all they cared about was the headline because they're all in cahoots.
Yes.
So my wife's on the headlines. Catherine Ballard sued for sexual assault. Another guy, Matt Cooper, one of the evil women, her name's Bree Ryder. She called him and tried to get him to sue me, my best friend. He said, I'm not going to sue. What am I going to sue for? Oh, don't worry. We'll make up a story. And he's like, no, go to hell. So she, Bree Ryder, sues him for sexual assault a week later. You see how this works?
Yeah.
And so it's plato o plomo. And so that's why, and you find out the moral courage in this world is about 1%.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I love Amsterdam. Let me tell you a quick story. I got to come back. You can show. Corrie ten Boom is a hero. Corrie ten Boom from Harlem, right? She hid Jews during the Nazi occupation here. And I read her book, and then I wanted to read other books. I want to hear other stories of people in Europe who did this. They don't exist, Rob. They don't exist because Corrie ten Boom was a 1%er.
I know.
Until you get to find out that I lived it. I got to find out. I got to find out who would have actually hid Jews, who would have been helping Harriet Tubman on the underground. It's 1%, and I know you're in that group.
I'm giving you an example too. I was in the European Parliament for 5 years, and it was during COVID, and our freedoms were taken away step by step. And the European Parliament, in the beginning, the UK was in. We were there with 751 members. When the British left, we were with 705 members. But we were with 7 people fighting for our freedoms during COVID. That's the 1%, even less.
Less than 1%.
It was really because.
But here, the good news is, if you read world history, the 1% eventually wins.
Yeah,
they will win
because it's the truth.
Because it's the truth.
Yes,
and lies have short legs, and the truth is backed by heaven. And we just have to keep building till it's 2%, till it's 3%. Yeah. And then especially and then miracles start unfolding if you got truth and you're doing the right thing. So I put my faith in that, my faith in God, and I'm not going to stop. I'll die on this hill.
Yeah.
I will.
I have the same feeling, but for your relatives and the people who love you, that's sometimes very difficult. Yeah, because that is what I find out. For my daughter and my wife, they are pretty scared sometimes.
Yeah. It's a fight.
What do you think this issue receives relatively little attention from politicians, the media, and international institutions? Yeah. Why is that?
Because they're scared of man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you got Starmer in the UK and the mayor in London, and they want to win. And so they have to make the Muslim people happy. And I'm not saying I think there's mostly peaceful Muslims. Don't get me wrong, okay? I think the largest demographic of abused people by radical Islam are peaceful Muslims, okay, who are coerced and beat up and killed if they leave their faith.
Yes.
So I want to make it very clear. However, for 2 decades, these people knew what was going on. The most horrific acts against children, 250,000 children, they did nothing. They gave them passes. They covered it up.
They even used police cars to drive the girls to the right places.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
And why? Because he wants to get elected.
Yeah.
And he can't say something against Sharia law. Sharia law is flat evil. Sharia law is what facilitates this. And Sharia law is being implemented all through the UK.
Yeah.
It's now in the United States. And so they can't say something bad against Sharia law because they might not get elected. So they choose politics over children. Politics over children equals you're going to hell. And that's what's going to happen in the end. I promise you that. You don't put politics over children. You put children first, always.
Well, when I was in an elected member, I was there to serve the people, but not to. Yeah, I've seen it many times that once people are elected, their goal is to be re-elected.
That's right.
And not serving the people anymore.
That's
They're
exactly
serving
right.
themselves.
They're serving themselves.
Yeah. Indeed, serious allegations have been made. You already spoke about that regarding some activities of your organization. What is the full story you believe the public has not heard?
The full story is that it's all lies.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
simple.
It's all lies. It's so easy. It was easy from the beginning. Okay, I countersued these people. No one reported on it. Right? They report. The Utah media is so corrupt. Right? That's the state I'm from. And the people inside the Mormon church, the LDS church, they're the ones who started the defamation. They knew that I was running for Senate. They knew what I was going to do. I told them. And they said, don't do it. They told me. One of the top leaders says, don't go down this rabbit hole. Because I said, look, the church is covering up a lot of stuff. They're censoring people who are talking about it. There's cases. Don't go down the rabbit hole, Tim. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't answer to man on this. Not on this. This is my calling, not yours. This is mine.
Yeah.
And they came out swinging. They lied. They defamed me. I mean, the lies were so outrageous. They said that I had never done projects with the church. I was a best-selling author for a decade with the church. I was a paid speaker for the church. Like, it goes on and on and on. I mean, they knew they were lying, and they compromised the names of another leader, saying that he cut me off. My wife called him. He said, "Did you cut us off?" It's all on the press. What are you talking about? So they use his name in vain, right? They use his name without him even knowing. So it was evil. It's a true act of evil. But they think that they're Jesus. They truly do. They think that he's not real. They're real, and since they are put in position, whatever they say is him. It's all prophetic. I mean, it's horrifying. It's horrifying for them, but they can't see it. The pride of the nations. So they run the cover, and that gave permission, moral, really immoral, but it gave moral permission for everybody else to pile on.
Well, this is also what I see a lot of times, that that people have not the courage to defend the real fighters. It's much easier to go with the flow.
That's
and go into the group thing.
Yes. Do you know Dennis Prager? Ever
Yes,
to Dennis Prager?
of course.
He said something so powerful. He said, "Those who don't fight evil, fight those who fight evil."
Yeah.
It's always been the case.
Yes.
Those who fought communism were attacked by those who didn't.
Yeah.
You know, those who try to defend Israel are attacked by those who don't defend Israel. Those who don't fight evil fight those who fight evil.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the people inside the church and the institutions that they don't want. They're covering for evil, so they have to take me out, but they're not going to win.
Sometimes I think, at least shut up. Don't.
Yeah.
If you are too afraid to fight, don't comply with the evil side and stay silent at least.
But this is what they do.
Yeah.
What they did to you and they did to me. They wrap you in lies.
Yes.
Make you such a villain that now they're afraid not to say, "Look, he's a villain." Right now they're so scared.
Yeah, that's true.
That they don't care about truth and like, yeah, Rob's bad. Of course he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Right. That's lawfare is very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
But there's a strategy, and we used it.
So back to Ukraine. The new documentary you made was about started in Ukraine.
Yes.
Why Ukraine? What happened there?
Crazy story. So, my wife, this is all my wife's fault. Okay, so my wife has an adoption coordination agency where she facilitates adoptions of children that we rescue, and we had about 6 kids in Ukraine that were about to come home. She had matched the families, and then the war breaks out. She comes to me that next day in tears. She's like, "Tim, there's 6 kids. You know, she knows their names, she knows their families. She's like, no one's picking up the phone. Communications are shut down. We got to find these kids and bring and I'm like, what do I do? She's like, you have to go find them. I said, Catherine, bombs are dropping. She's crying. She's like biting her lip. You have to go find them. So, and then a few hours later, I got a phone call from Mel Gibson, the actor Mel Gibson.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And he said the same thing. My wife, he was filming in Budapest and a movie, and he said, Tim, you got to go out there. He gave me a list of names of orphans that he was caring for too. So I'm like, oh boy, you know, when your wife and Mel Gibson both tell you to do something on the same day, probably should do it.
Yeah.
So off we went to Ukraine. Sure enough, bombs dropping, everything else. Well, we get there and it's much worse. The 6 children, funny enough, they were safe in Lithuania. Okay. But now that we're here, like, well, let's find some other kids. We got a list of over 10,000 missing children. We ended up getting about 6,000 of them out.
6,000?
6,000 into safety. Yeah.
Wow.
We had buses, just a bus operation, just going into the war zone, coming out into the war zone. Area recovery.
But missing. So what do you mean by missing?
So when the war breaks out, people are dead, kids are running around, vulnerable. So they couldn't locate these kids, and the orphans were abandoned. A lot of the orphans, the caretakers took off and left the kids starving and vulnerable. This is why traffickers show up there, because they just had to pull up a nice van with some hot cocoa and come on here, little boy, I'll take care of you. Gone, right? So we went out there to help those kids, but also to look for the predators that we knew would be there. And sure enough, Martijn Association was taking advantage of the situation, and we caught them.
Wow.
It
So
took us
they
4
are
months.
all over the place, not only South America, but even...
They're everywhere. But they're online. They're doing a lot of the work online, trying to negotiate deals. So I found them online, and I went undercover and intercepted undercover. Before long, I'm in Mexico meeting face-to-face with him. And then a month later or weeks later, I'm in Ecuador with the police taking down a child sex hotel that they were building. It's a crazy story, but it's an important one because it shows how this is transnational, how the bad guys use borders and boundaries to trick the people and hide the kids. So it really kind of emphasizes the absolute fundamental truth that we cannot fight this alone.
Yeah.
The countries must come together.
So do you see a connection between large-scale migration, weak border control, and also the vulnerability of children to exploitation?
Yeah. So if I could push a button and just have one policy made the whole worldwide to fight this, that would be it. Border enforcement. I'll tell you why. We have an example in the United States. Between 2020 and 2024, Sleepy Joe Biden opened the borders. Why? Well, because 30 to 60 million people can come in and vote Democrat, right? It was all, again, politics over children. They knew damn well the result of that would be that traffickers would take advantage of that and bring children into the sex markets in the United States.
How many children are we talking about?
Over 400,000 children, foreign children, were brought in unaccompanied, and they made it so easy. During that 4-year period, anyone could claim to be the sponsor of a child, and that child would be released. It was harder. At that time, it was more difficult to adopt a cat from a shelter, truly, than to go claim sponsorship and take one of those kids out. Wow. They were sending 20 kids to the same house in Texas. Like, it was so obvious. And then the whistleblowers they'd hire these NGOs and pay them billions of dollars to house these kids, and they had to keep the kids moving, right? And then there's whistleblowers that went there to help, and they're like, wait, what are we doing? There's no vetting, no investigation, no background check, no DNA test. Trump had rapid DNA technology on those borders. Biden got rid of that. And they're like, we're just handing these kids out like candy. And they said, we got to do, don't talk. And then the few brave ones like Tara Rodas and others came out and bam, get slammed like you and I, right? It was the dark, it will go down in history as the darkest period since the transatlantic slave trade in our country. It's that dark.
Wow.
And these kids are still missing.
How many?
They've got about 100,000, I believe.
But still 300,000.
Yeah, Trump's doing a great job. The new DHS, former Senator Mullins is doing a great job. They're taking it back. They're fighting. Bobby Kennedy's fighting back. They're fighting back to get these kids, and we're participating in that. And but in the meantime, it goes to show people say that the tough border policy is racist or inhumane. It's the opposite.
Yes.
It's the only humane thing, because when these children are being brought into our country, their last hope is that border, that someone will recognize them, like you saw in Sound of Freedom, that someone will recognize them, that someone will reach out and save their lives. It's their last hope. Border enforcement is humane. Border enforcement rescues trafficked children, right? But the left does the opposite. You're a racist.
I think that's a very important point you make here, because that's what I always say. It's inhumane. The world is of everyone can go wherever they want, but it's well, you see now what the result is. It's really evil.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. And what was the film? What has the film actually changed? The public awareness, public fundraising, law enforcement. Has anything changed?
So yes and no. So Sound of Freedom had such an impact that I was asked by the U.S. Congress to help them pass the Sound of Freedom Act. The Sound of Freedom Act was going to expose the trafficking at the border, because Biden was still the boss at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
The foster care system fraud and the child abuse that I was going to focus the cover-ups in Utah. Okay, so the people inside the LDS church who did this, who started this whole thing, they knew damn well what I was going to come do. So they launched out on this defamation. That defamation led to the derailing of the Sound of Freedom Act. You see? So this is serious. This gets into conspiracy against the U.S. government kind of thing. Also, a nonprofit can't meddle in elections. I said I was going to run for the Senate. A nonprofit in the United States is illegal. It's for them to meddle in an election, but certainly they did that by defaming me. In Utah, of all places, where when they speak, they know that a lot of people think it's God speaking, so they can say whatever they want, right? So yeah, the Sound of Freedom Act, the Sound of Freedom movie was supposed to become a movement. It didn't, because of these people. Mm-hmm. And the losses to the world were immeasurable, horrifying. But we have another, now that we've defeated these people and we're going to expose them and are exposing them, hidden war will now be the tool that becomes the movement. And Sound of Freedom is, people are watching that. It's going up, right? The views. So they lost, we won, God won. And we are going to now make Hidden War the movie that becomes the movement. And that's why I'm here in Europe, because half the movie was filmed here. And so we have an opportunity right now. I'm going to the UK to talk to people mm-hmm. that we work with, the CPAC folks. And I think Hidden War will be screened at CPAC. And we have to use this. Stories move people. It's a true story of countless children being rescued.
Well, yeah, because I think that's the point. People have no idea.
They have no idea.
Because the media is not diving into this. The mainstream media. It's I think that's really important. So if a child is really rescued, what happens then? How are they picking up their lives? Have you any idea?
Yes, we spend a lot of time on the aftercare.
Yeah,
it's very difficult because it's under-resourced. But we partner with the best we can, where we have homes for them where they can go and get all the care they need. It's a long-term care. Ultimately, as per my wife Catherine's vision, and it's the right one, is adoptions. Right? If you can get these children into families, that's the best aftercare. That's why we had the Children Need Families program that led us into Ukraine. So yeah, the aftercare is very important, but it needs more attention as well. Most countries,
but there's so many. There's so many. Is it possible to give them a good place?
Not right now.
No,
we don't have enough right now, but we're working on it. we're working on. We need more people to stand up. I'm supporting a lot of organizations around the world, including in the United States, who are building the aftercare centers. So there's a movement right now to create those, and we're supporting those efforts.
And what facts or statistics about child trafficking? Because we need the attention of the average person here in the United States and in Europe, etc. So what facts or statistics about trafficking would shock the average person if they truly understood them?
It's the numbers are so astonishing. It's terrifying to people. They don't want to believe it. $150 billion we talked about. There's slave labor, there's organ harvesting, and there's sex trafficking. Organ harvesting.
Also.
We've taken down several organ harvesting rings that take the children to sell their a pediatric heart can sell for $250,000 in the black market. So we're fighting that in Brazil, in the Middle East. And so the numbers are astonishing. We're talking about well over 10 million. Well over 10 million. We can't even put a number on it, of just children. And you had the adults, and you had several more, or tens of millions of more. But this is why it's important that we get to the UK today, right? Because here you had some brave people who were willing to come out and say, look, this is just one small sampling, and look how big it is. 250,000 British girls over 2 decades. There you go. Here now you're seeing it's rearing its ugly head, right? But that's happening. I could find similar reports in probably any country.
Well, no.
I just told you in the United States, 400,000 children.
Yeah,
it's a crisis.
Tommy Robertson was the one who was bringing this to daylight for years, and they tried to cancel him too.
They tried to destroy him. Yeah.
That's even a better word. Destroy him. Yeah.
He didn't stop though, did he?
Yeah. He's a very brave man.
Yeah.
And So this is so incredible that let's say the good people are also being punished for doing.
Oh,
good.
you get absolutely tarred, feathered, punished, persecuted for standing for righteousness.
Yeah.
That's really sad commentary on our world, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah. That's the price we have to pay. So looking 20 years into the future, what would need to change for you to say that the fight against child trafficking has been successful?
First and foremost, the world needs to know it's there.
Yeah.
That is the first phase, and it's very difficult. People don't want to see it, right? People fight. Sound of Freedom sat on the shelf for 5 years.
I know.
Every studio turned it down.
2018, it was already finished.
It was done.
But it was such a great job by Angel Studios to bring
and
it
Eduardo
out.
Verastegui and Alejandro Monteverde, these guys, it sat for 5 years. Now, knowing it was a good film, good enough to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and over 100 million people saw it. So it wasn't about entertainment factor. The studios didn't want you to see it. They don't want you to talk about this, right? And so that tells you what we're up against. But the good part of that is that 100 million people did show up.
Yeah.
So there are enough people of light out there. They'll show up, but we have to show them. We have to be there for them.
Why did Angel Studios pick it up?
They're courageous.
Yes.
That's it.
They are different, huh?
They were attacked by Disney. They were in lawsuits. They almost lost everything like multiple times. They would not. The Harmon brothers would not give up. So they were refined to the fire, and they're brave. That's it. They're morally brave. They fear God, not man, and they're going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's good. Yeah.
They're in the 1%.
Yes. Yes.
They're in the 1%.
Yeah. So there is hope.
There's hope.
There's hope. There are good people who are willing to fight, and now we need the other, at least 10% starts to join us, and at least not to fight us also.
That's right.
Yeah. So what can we do in Europe? You have this documentary that's coming out.
Yep.
I already arranged it, but I have to discuss it with you. But we are going to have we are able to organize an event where we're going to show this film, and well, maybe you can be online afterwards or before.
Absolutely.
But we have to show the world.
And I'm coming back. I'm coming back in July, probably for the UK CPAC, and
Okay.
and we might even be able to do this live. But yeah, we're out ahead of the movie because the movie hasn't hit Europe. It's mostly in the United States right now, so we're just getting it ready. So once it's on Amazon or streamers that can be accessed here, it's going to be ready. But we have to be ready to take this movie, promote the heck out of it, and then parlay that into legislation.
And to legislation.
Yep.
Again, what do you want?
I want a mandatory reporting. Mandatory reporting. So I want everything that the Dutch government didn't do in this case with the Martijn Association. You don't give their passports back. They don't get to wait in trial with their passports. Okay, if you're going to let them live in freedom, I guess you could put them, in jail, but you could also give them bail, but you're going to not give them their passport, and you're going to do mandatory reporting. If you know that
And
someone's
mandatory
leaving,
reporting is that if they flee, that you inform the...
Yeah, when Nelson Matterman left in 2020, that would have signaled the immigration systems. They would know he's leaving to Mexico. So they need to report to Mexico, hey, we got a real suspicious character coming into your country. Far from doing that, when they discovered he was there, they actually withdrew what was already kind of not reporting, but at least there's a red notice that kind of goes out, and it's more reactive. But they canceled it.
Yeah.
So far from reporting, they did the opposite.
Protecting.
And they said, we don't want the Mexicans to lynch him. Those are the words.
And in the same time, all these young kids
in the same time,
are
they're
being
abusing
raped day in,
countless
day out.
children. Exactly.
My God. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Tim, I think you are doing an amazing job. I keep up the good work. Success in the UK, because it's really an actual file out there at this moment. And we are going to show this video here in the Netherlands.
Excellent.
And we keep in touch.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Do you have a message to the people here in the Netherlands?
God's children are not for sale. You gotta be brave. It's gonna be hard. It's worth it. It's worth it for children. Be brave, stand up. And there's a great local group here. They're actually international, but they're working here. Help them out. They're called Free a Girl. They're based in Amsterdam and internationally. Help out Free a Girl, the people here in the Netherlands.
Thank you so much. Great. Thanks. Thanks again.